can you give a little bit of introduction, say who you are and what are you doing here in Honiara community?
My name is Nicholas and I am a priest. My role in this community is accompanying the postulants and the students, and also helping in university as a chaplain for the Catholic students, and also in one of the high school, King George VI.
I wonder, Father Nicholas, how has it been like for this community to receive Thibault as a volunteer?
It has been a very new program for us here. We haven't have a volunteer coming before Thibault. It's a bit of full of wonder. We don't know what he will be doing actually. But when he arrives, it's a joy, and we welcomed him, and we are very happy that he's with us too. It's a bit new and different to have a volunteer in our community living with us. But he's young, so we relate to him just as any young man.
Thibault, wasn't it too hard to arrive? Because Brother Nicholas insists that there was nothing in place for you. Wasn't it too hard to arrive in the new community without a fixed program?
Well, actually, these first weeks were also a time for me to get used to the culture, the culture, the language, the customs in the community and in the country. So there were no postulants yet, but there were brothers. So thanks to them I could start living this community life and prayer life. And after 2 weeks the first postulants, I think, arrived. So we could plan something with them. And at the same time as I had other commitments with the Dominican sisters, which are working in a way together with the friars. I started with the Dominican sisters, and then when the Dominican postulants arrived, it was added to the program.
Father Nick, what is the added value of a volunteer in the Dominican community? What was it in Honiara?
Well, as you have heard, I say, even though we didn't have set a plan for Thibault, as long as he's here with us and he's started to involve with us in community programs, involved with the sisters and then later the postulants, and helping individual friars, he added a lot. I would say for myself, I learned from his simple ways. Sometimes he even, with his very little things that he does in a community helping, it gives us a lot to learn from. He's really helping us, a brother already in the community, or even I would say sometimes more than the brothers can do. So I would say he showed a very good example for us. I learned something from his humility, his patience. I'm sure the friars, they learn something from him too, the same way. He involves with us cooking, saying the prayers, the readings, and morning prayers, and evening prayers, and rosaries, in the cooking. He involved really. I think I didn't expect him to involve that much. Sometimes I don't know if he will notice. Sometimes when he is doing something, I will just want to do it instead of him. Sometimes I feel like offensive in a way because he's doing too much. But then I think he likes it. Sometimes he just say, "Oh, it's okay. Oh, it's okay."
What do you make about that? Did you have a feeling of doing too much
Actually, I think we don't have the same standards in France, the same level of doing too much. But no, actually, I did not feel like I was doing too much because as it was, I was about to be here for 6 months. I really wanted to be part of the community, and actually, from the first day to the last one, I felt welcomed and as really part of the community. Even if you showed me mark of respect by telling me, no, you don't do that, I'll do it for you. But little by little, yeah, as we get to know each other, we got to know each other, yeah, we would be like working together.
Do you feel you belong to the community, Thibault? Could you say that?
Actually, I can say that. And in a way, it's also thanks to the post-students themselves, because we have the same age and of course with very different backgrounds, but they are at the beginning of their maybe adult lives, and I myself I am at a similar stage. So with some of them we could share very interesting reflections on everything actually. So thanks to them, thanks to the brothers and the priests who were running the community, I can say I really feel part of the community.
Would you say that also, Brother Nicholas, that Thibault belongs to the community?
Yes, I would say that. It's sometimes I just feel like he's one novice because he lives. I think to me, he commits himself to what he's doing. It's not just doing it just for the sake of doing it, but he really put him into the thing. So my feeling and was what I experienced and see is really part of the community.
Thibault, what would be the most challenging thing for a volunteer? Obviously you're not a novice. What is the most challenging thing you think for a Dom&Go volunteer who really is in the community doing things as we understood with the brothers, really being part of it? But then again, you're not a brother.
Yeah.
What is the most challenging thing about that, you would say? Or
Well,
is
it's to find your place in this community, knowing what is expected of you as a lay people, but also knowing what is expected of you as a part of the community. Maybe the most challenging point would be to be able to adjust yourself with every brother to the communication between the volunteer and every brothers. I think it's the clue to have a sense of life shared together, especially when we come with a different culture. With, for example, here in the Solomon Islands, maybe in some cultures you would not you would not speak to someone, I don't know, in the same way that you would speak to in France.
Father Nicholas, would you have a piece of advice for communities who prepare themselves to receive volunteers in the future?
It is a very good thing to know the skills of a volunteer who will be coming, and the talents and what he or she is capable of, and then prepare ahead for them. See where their skills and talents will be used in schools or with the postulants or in terms of a Dominican community or novice or students. And I think for the Dominican communities, it's not only for the postulants and students, but in places where even the friars who also need something in relation to the skills of that particular volunteer, then they too should be able to learn something from the volunteer. And for the communities who have been receiving the volunteers already in the communities, it's a very good thing to involve them in the community life, the prayers, whatever we do in a house, in a building, even in pastoral areas, apostolic work areas, it's good to involve volunteers to have the experience of places like hospitals or prisoners, and I hope Thibault had the chance to go to visit the prisoners too with the sisters, so it's a very good thing. And I think it's a good thing to promote and to promote the good spirit, receiving young men and women in our religious communities, because I think it's a way of allowing them to experience not only the life within the community, religious community, but it's also experience discovering their own vocations, what they are called to be in the future. I think it's a very important program, volunteering. As far as I know, there are a lot of volunteers too. They tend out to see what they're called, what is the God's call for them, and they choose, some to choose religious life, and it worked well for them because that experience opened their minds and their hearts to really see what their hearts and God's telling them.
In the volunteers program, Thibault, we say that the volunteer has some spiritual guidance or spiritual support. Is it easy to find it in the community, and what would be your advice to a community regarding that point?
I think it's a key of the volunteering the period of the volunteering, to find in the community or outside someone with another look on what we are living, someone who knows maybe also the culture better than us and the issues at stake. It will not come by itself. It has to come from the volunteer, and the volunteer asks, and hopefully if he asks, he will receive.
But do you feel, Father Nicholas, that the community should pay attention to this day-to-day companionship with the volunteer?
I think yes, it's very important, firstly because the volunteer is from a very different country, different backgrounds, and sometimes they can feel, even within the community, like lonely still, because of different ways of interaction and socializing. Like communities like Dominicans, most times, if in information houses or where the students are doing their studies, the students will, and most of the friars in the community will spend their time doing their own things in their rooms, studies or whatever work that they have, and sometimes it's just like you forget about a volunteer that also needs us to be there and say something or ask them how they are doing.
Would you say that to welcome a volunteer is a mission in itself for the community?
It is a mission in itself, because welcoming a volunteer is not just welcoming the volunteer, but it's also being receptive and openness for other things that are coming, and that means opening to other cultures, learning new things from different people, volunteers who are coming. So it's a mission in itself, because you are showing that an open heart, a hospitable heart, and Dominicans, they are always hospitable. It's something that all of us, communities around the world, we should be aware of that. It's very important. It's very important. It might seem very tiny, but it's very important.
Alright, paying attention to the little details. Thibault, you've been around now for 6 months. You know a bit of what the Dominican life is all about, Dominican spirituality, to praise, to preach and to bless. Would you think that this volunteering program is a Dominican thing? Or how do you see the volunteering program related to the Dominican spirit?
Yes, indeed. This period was the opportunity to learn more about the Dominican family, the Dominican history and spirituality. From the little I know now, what really strikes me is the Dominican family all around the world and the link between those communities. And coming here from France, I really wish to play the role of a lay volunteer, linking the Solomon Islands in a way with French communities. And I really do hope that it works in both ways. So I was very welcome for 6 days in the Solomon Islands. Hopefully Solomon Islanders will be welcome one day in France. Yes.
What would you make of it? Do you think it's a Dominican thing to do, to receive and send volunteers? Is it a way to preach, to bless and to praise?
It is a Dominican spirit. The volunteers, when they come to join the community, they are really living, doing their best to live the spirituality of the community, which is the spirituality of Saint Dominic. And in that way, they are really part of the whole thing. They are not just volunteers, they are part of the community already. They, like in the case of Thibault, he also take part in the prayers, the community life, the cooking, the whatever in the community, the dancing, the social life. So,
do you think he was preaching in a way?
He definitely is preaching. And I think a preaching that has a very strong impact, since he is not in a way a professed brother, a novice or a postulant, but he's really doing what we are doing and what some things we should be doing. So he's really part of the mission, the Dominican mission from Saint Dominic in the world. He really involves and part of it.
Thank you so much. So hopefully the bridge that Thibault has started building will go both ways, as we say, and you will have other French volunteers here in the Solomon Islands, and in the future maybe people from the Solomons will be able to participate in the program in France. Thank you so much for the sharing.
Thank you.
All the best. God bless.